Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another comics episode of Uncanny Treks as we continue our three-part series on the Black Panther by John Ridley. I am Bob in Cascadia. That is Matt in the Southland. Matt, how the hell are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty well, Bob. We're going to cover volume 2 of John Ridley's Black Panther.
We have our third one coming up actually pretty soon. I was surprised to find that volume 3 would be the last volume. So, yeah, this will all be wound down pretty quickly.
A 3-part series, folks, but in our hearts.
So we're talking about the second part of Black Panther is by John Ridley. So this is volume 2, Range Wars. What are the issues on this? Is it 6 to 10?
6 through 10, that's correct.
Yeah, 6 through 10. So for our creative team, Ridley's still the writer. And then we have Italian artist Stefano Landini did the art for number 5. And that was in our first volume. And he's back for number 6 through 8. Originally, the series launch being John Ridley and Juan Cabral. Kind of ironically, Stefano Landini also did fill-in work on Al Ewing and Juan Cabral's Guardians of the Galaxy, so good hand for filling in for Juan Cabral. And then in number 9, Argentinian artist in Peralta takes over, and I think he's on it till the end of the book. I think. I'm not totally sure. I've seen his art around. I don't think he's really had a lot of sustained runs. He did a couple issues of Cullen Bunn's Moon Knight a few years ago that I enjoyed.
The art in this volume, it's not the most amazing thing, but there's still some really good single panel shots that I think are really well done.
I would say it's serviceable. And,
yeah, it's serviceable.
I may be inclined to like it because I read the first issue of the new Bishop miniseries this week and really, really disliked the art. It was being an homage to all the things about 90s art I don't like. So that was part of it. But it was also I thought it was really stiff and not pretty. So I'm pretty appreciative of all the art we've had on this Ridley run of the Panther.
Bob's referring to Bishop War College, which I also picked up and read. I agree with the art, Bob, but I enjoy that art, so teaches on.
I didn't hate Bishop War College, but I got the impression you liked it a lot more than I did.
It was very entertaining. And the premise, what if the X-Men were black?
I don't know that I would describe that as the premise, but okay.
Well, that's okay, Bob. That's how they sold it, though. Okay, I won't go into too many details with it because it's a brand new series, but that is the premise that gets you. Like, they literally ask, "Why are the X-Men black?" in the synopsis.
Oh, okay.
That's why I looked at. I wouldn't have read it had I not read the summary. Now I don't know who produced the summary, so that's the real question.
Oh, these days the X-Men comics are on the whole so good and so interconnected that I pretty much read them all, so I don't bother reading solicitations.
When the solicitation hit with that, I was, oh, okay. I usually would not pick up a Bishop book. I don't pick up unless you suggest it or I find it randomly. I was surprised you're like, Matt was reading a Bishop book?
Oh, I just thought you were getting more into reading X-Men comics recently.
Oh, you thought it was just organic.
Away from Bishop College. Do you want to run us through the plot synopsis of issue number 6, the first issue in Black Panther Volume 2, Range Wars?
So issue number 6 starts with Panther on the run from his secret police, the Hatut Zeraze. Zeraze?
Yeah, it's not bad. Sure, go with it.
Hatut Zeraze. But he's both rescued and plunged into greater danger when Storm arrives, furious over learning that Panther was using Gentle as a sleeper agent.
All right, Matt. So in this issue, we learn that Shuri, A, does really good home cooking, B, that Panther will eat anything Shuri puts in front of him, and C, she put a tracker in some of that home cooking for her brother. So does that make her a hypocrite for being angry at her brother's sleeper agent program?
She's got no reason to be angry with her brother. Putting tracking devices in family members' food, Bob's a huge sign of trust issues. She's just as paranoid as he is.
I will say, though, it's necessarily a trust issue. The job that Panther is in, by which I mean being both a monarch and superhero, does make him ripe for kidnapping attempts.
What's the real reason she put it on him, Bob? Come on.
In the previous run, he was kidnapped into the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. The dude gets kidnapped a lot.
Do you really think a tracking device can go all the way that far, Bob? The range on those things is that far?
I mean, it at least tells you he's not on Earth.
Just to let everybody know he's not here on Earth. He's somewhere in the universe.
And also, I mean, if anybody on Earth has tracking devices that work interstellar, well, it'd probably more likely be the Fantastic Four because they deal with the interstellar more often. But I would say Shuri is another choice.
She is the smarter version.
Also in this issue, speaking of weird character choices, man, Panther tells Storm that his dead sleeper agent Ja is the only person he ever really cared about. That's a pretty rough thing to say to your ex-wife. Also, I feel bad for his sister and also for Monica Lynn, Panther's ex-fiance, who's a singer back in America.
I found that line to be complete bullshit. I didn't know who Jai existed prior to these volumes, correct?
No,
Oh, he
no,
didn't. Okay, so never
no.
mind. I know. Yeah, okay, that's right then, because it was the other agent too. All these agents he's talking about were not even characters in like the previous runs of Black Panther.
Gentle was a character in X-Men already, but not a very prominent one. All the other ones are new, like Jai and Umala are new.
So I'm supposed to just accept that this dude was his best friend forever, and he's that upset over his death. I don't believe it.
I was wondering if there was supposed to be some homoerotic subtext to it. I didn't notice that the first time I was reading it, but the second time I was reading it to discuss it with you, it was just like, oh yeah, when you're telling your ex-wife that the only person I ever really cared about is my dead male best friend, that has a certain.
I just couldn't get past like the surface level of that dumb comment to even dig into the subtext, Bob.
This is going to be meaner than I want it to sound because I like John Ridley's run so far on Panther. I'm looking forward to seeing how it wraps up. Sometimes feel like he's more writing like Batman than he is Black Panther, right? There's like such a loner and has such trust issues with all his people. And it's like, I don't know, Black Panther should be a ruthless character, right? But clearly he loves his sister, he loves his ex-wife, he loves his subjects, right? He's not, I don't think he's this alienated loner that Ridley is writing him as.
2005, 2006 Batman. That's when he
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
obsessed over. He didn't want to have a Batman family.
Right after Stephanie Brown dies, that time. So, Matt, you want to run us through the summary for issue number 7?
Issue number 7 has Akil and Falasad verbally fence while Panther sincerely apologizes to Storm, Shiri, Omolola, and the Dora Milaje, who he convinces to help defeat Akil on the condition that he not seek the throne.
Although it should be noted that his promise to not seek the throne is very lawyerly given. So if he's offered it, he can still take it. He's just not seeking it, you see?
Right.
This is the second issue where Akil, Folasad, and Folasad's aide are debating and dialoguing. And again, not to be critical because this is a good trade, but that got pretty tiring. Generally, how Ridley writes the dialogue of Panther, Storm, and Shuri, but the new characters of Akil, Folasad, and the aide, not caring for them so much.
Their whole side story really slowed the pace a bit too much.
Be a Wakandan civil war, and so I guess you need another side.
Right. Yeah, you had a main character in there on the other end because, once again, this Fasad's brand new to this arc, correct?
Yep,
Yeah.
Facade, Akil, yep, all new. I mean, the Hatut Zaraz are not new. They're in Priest Run, but yeah, Akil as a character. Speaking of danger to Shuri, Matt, in issue number 8, the Wakandan Civil War is coming to a climax.
8th issue of this trade, we do get the end of the Civil War.
The thing you wanted in issue 5, you get it in issue 8.
Yeah. I hate to say it, Bob, but the story was okay. There's just not much more to it.
We can't end with a ritual combat between the Panther and Akil. You know, it's a big trope, but it's still done well. There's a point that the combat shifts that earlier fight in the first trade between the Panther and Umala. They do a good job of pushing the tide back and forth between the Panther and Akil. And Panther yelling at Akil, "Say my name." Obviously, that's pretty played out, but it still works well for me.
We get a big battle scene at the end. Then,
Yeah.
Of course, Akil doesn't die the way we expect.
He cuts his own throat to own Black Panther, which I'm always a fan of doing suicide in order to own your enemies. That's a good way to do it. So even though he wasn't a great character, he went out like a champ, I would say.
All right, so following the Civil War, Bob, we hit issues 9 and 10.
And things change, Matt. Things change.
A whole lot, Bob. Complete shift. We have T'Challa, as the leader of the Avengers. Which I just want to ask, Bob, why is Black Panther the leader of the Avengers?
This is what I was saying last week. He's in Jason Aaron's Avengers run, which is ongoing. He is the leader. We meet a new villain whose advanced scouts the Avengers were fighting way back in number 1. He seems like a combination of Mr. Mxyzptlk, the Ferengi, and English colonial tropes, and I guess he's appropriately called the colonialist.
Catch that the little dude was in charge, not the big dude, before the final issue. And did you catch that he was surrounded by women?
He calls the women who are surrounding him his objectifications. They're always making these snide comments in a language that we can understand, but the Avengers can't understand, where they're saying, "Help us kill him, we hate him," stuff like that. which I thought was a pretty funny gag. So the colonialist has a lot of nicknames, right?
Yeah.
And he's a bad guy. He's a colonizer. He has a lot of female alien slaves. But his nicknames, I texted you when I read this like a couple months ago. They're amazing. So he calls Thor Aryan King. He calls Cap Jingo Commando. He calls Captain Marvel Commander Hottie. And he calls Black Panther Negro Feline.
Jingo Commando sounds like some G.I. Joe code name.
Yeah, it's great. It really, really cuts to the quick
Yeah.
of those characters. And Thor compares meeting the colonizer to his past experience licking hallucinogenic toads, which was funny too.
Issues 9 and 10, they take a whole different path, guys. So if you go and you read these, you're going to get a completely different story in issues 1 through 8.
I enjoyed the setup for the first story arc. I would say issues 9 through 10. Good. I enjoyed that.
Fun. One of the best parts, though, comes in issue number 10.
Yes, Matt. We get the sensational character find of 2022. Who is he?
The Buffalo Soldier.
When I read this, I was, oh man, I think people are going to hate this, but I love the Buffalo Soldier. He's awesome. What did you think?
He really reminds me of like a tall tale character, like Pecos Bill, which is what they're
Yeah.
going for. It's a big burly man on top of a buffalo.
It's obviously the traditional image of a Buffalo Soldier, which is to say a black dude in a Union Army uniform from the late 19th century with a blue Union Army uniform with a big 19th century rifle. A tall tale character. He's oversized. He and his buffalo are both. The scale wasn't super clear to me, but you get the impression that both are quite a bit bigger than the Panther.
Right, yeah, he's huge.
Yeah.
He's
And he
larger
apparently
than
seems-
life.
And he apparently seems to be from some sort of alternate universe, right? Where the
Yeah.
Buffalo Soldiers played out a little differently.
His bullets break vibranium.
Even though he's an opponent of the colonizer, he does continue the colonizer's humorous habit of misnaming the Avengers. And at the end of the Buffalo Soldier Avengers arc, we have Shuri and Captain America worrying together about Panther, which was sweet. We also have Shuri presumptuously taking her seat at the Avengers table, which I was in favor.
I'm fine with that too.
Very
Need
good.
more female representation on the Avengers.
The guy who's taking over after, because Jason Aaron's run is winding down in a couple months. Jed McKay, who did the recent Moon Knight and Black Cat series, which are really good, he's taking over the Avengers. I was hoping he would bring in new characters like Shuri, but it sounds like he's defaulting to a more traditional 70s style lineup, if I remember right.
All right, well, that's disappointing, but
The current lineup in the Jason Aaron run is all the people in this issue, but it's a lot of other people too. A big power team. It's a different, very overpowered characters right now.
sounds like they're setting up something crazy in the Marvel. My vote for Black Panther 3, Shuri against Buffalo Soldier.
Hell yeah, man. Bring in that
Do it.
Buffalo Soldier. I want to see Shuri and him go at it. Do you actually think they'll make a Black Panther 3?
Yes, they will make a Black Panther 3.
Matt, what was your visual of the week for Black Panther Volume 2 Range Wars?
So I said earlier, there were several single panel pages that I just thought were great. There was one when the Buffalo Soldier is revealed. That single panel page was awesome. I also like the one where the colonialist is revealed. That's also a single panel page.
Or where it's revealed that he's the little guy.
I'm sorry, debuts. Yes, cool looking.
Yeah, man, Hermaine Peralta brings it. Your choices are better than mine. I'm glad you went with the Buffalo Soldier. That makes me happy.
I read enough generic Justice League comics, or I've watched enough generic Justice League stuff that when I do read, well, this is so far out that it's interesting.
Mine is really easy, but it's the opening splash page at number 6. It's got a shirtless Panther leaping down on two of the treacherous Hatut Zaraz, and they're screaming death to T'Challa. It's a great scene. I liked it.
All right, Bob, so we will be finishing up our 3-part series on Black Panther.
Well, this has been Uncanny Treks Comics Watch. Thanks for tuning in to Uncanny Treks. I am Bob in Cascadia. That is Matt in the Southland. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks for listening.